This video is sponsored by Van Digital, a social media, virtual assistance, and web design agency.
Okay guys, welcome back to my channel. This is part 2 of my story time about my narcissistic marriage to my ex-husband. For the record, I am okay, I am healed, and I am thriving. So, I think the last part we left back at was I am the black sheep turned golden child due to having a background of mixed ethnicities and not really feeling welcome. So I do want to clarify that I was not able to speak to my uncle because of the lie that this aunt told. Not that she was the reason why we were burying him. So I'll put that out there. So this same aunt starts to make up lies. So let's call her Auntie Cherry. Yes, I like that. So she started going around the neighborhood and community and telling people that he kidnapped me. And everyone ate it up. At this time, we were only dating for a couple of months. My cousin's wife messaged me the night when I tried to come back, and when Aunt Cherry didn't let me in, I decided, okay, I'm just gonna go back to Cody's place and stay there. My cousin's wife said that she heard a car and that she was following behind us by car. We were walking on foot. There were no cars present. That's neither here nor there, but I felt like that was important to note. I was tired of feeling rejected by my dad's side of the family, and I know it's not everybody on his side of the family, but I felt as if this being his little sister, and I had such a high regard for her, that her treatment of me in this manner was very heartbreaking. And falling into a deep depression is an understatement, I would say. Oh yes, so this Aunt Cherry, she would let me know that I am not a Ghanaian girl, and I should go back home. I should go back home because I'm not a Ghanaian girl. After that, I stayed with Cody and we fasted and spent Ramadan together. And my flight was in the next couple of days. We went back to Aunt Cherry's house and got most of my things. And I left without saying goodbye, I believe. I greeted her hello while I walked into her house for customary reasons. But I departed without a trace and made my way back to Canada. I was feeling very broken at this time, clearly. And I found that Cody was my backbone at that time. He was supportive, emotionally, and even though he wasn't really a financial heavy hitter, I appreciated the little that he did to try to make me smile. Because I really believe that he had a good heart, and that is what attracted me to him in the first place. So, after I came back, I started work a couple of months later. And I realized our communication was failing, and I was going through a lot at the time, especially spiritually. So I was dealing with constant spiritual attacks. I couldn't sleep. I was also afflicted and tormented spiritually. My family ended up moving during the last month of my contract, and at this job I was promised a full-time contract, and last minute they decided they were not going to give it to me. I also went through being set up at work and basically being mobbed. And I remember one of my colleagues, even though he was a part of the mobbing, he looked at me in the eye one day and he said, like, you're a really good person. I see that you care for everyone. As I was trying to amend a process for, I believe, a software. And it was really touching. At the same time, they did mob me. So, a side note. At this time, I had to beg Cody to turn on his data to make sure I could call him. And if you say you love a person and you want to marry them, the first thing is to, make sure you can receive their calls, right? I think that's pretty self-explanatory. And we went through a lot of fights where he told me I was too much, asking for him to keep his data on because his girlfriend is long distance. And I believe that should have been one of the first signs to go. I also felt like, I felt and was later proven right that he was fooling around with another woman. And when I would ask him over the phone, he would say no. Until the Lord revealed it to me while I was in Ghana. Sorry, I'm still reading my notes. So I booked a flight to Ghana. This was maybe November of 2023. And the week before I was set to board, I felt like he was doing something he wasn't, that he was seeing someone else and fooling around with them. As I landed, we were very happy. But I could feel some hesitancy within his spirit, like he was guilty. And he hid it very, very, very well. basically, I felt like our love was rekindled. We did have a couple of arguments here and there due to his anger issues. And I tried to remain understanding, as I felt like he was literally my lifeline at the time while I was going through these afflictions. I stayed in Ghana for a couple of months after finding out that he was fooling around with some girl. I confronted him and he admitted it. I was distraught and we reconciled, of course, and continued to try to build our relationship. He was attentive, but of course his anger was a problem. In February, we went over to his uncle's mosque and we had our nikah, and we got married, right? I had really bad anxiety, but was reassured that I was doing the right thing. Shortly after I came back, and we were communicating like nothing was wrong before, and we were both happy. If I knew what I knew now, I probably would not have gotten married. But no one knows what their spouse will or won't do. And I don't believe, let me retract that statement. I'm not going to think for him because I don't have the same mindset. Anyways, I left GH, I left my husband, and I prayed for Ramadan that I'd be able to spend Eid with him. And lo and behold, are we surprised, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he came through. I was able to go to Ghana to spend Eid with my ex-husband. At this time, God also opened up my dad's eyes to his wife's behavior. And she was pissed, to say the least. So she attacked me while I was breaking my fast during Ramadan. She bit my face and started punching me. She pulled out my hair. And I screamed for my father, who was upstairs. And I believe he was sleeping at the time. I was obviously feeling weak from a 16-hour fast. And I was blindsided. I was actually in the middle of cooking to break my fast. After he split us up, and I really could see the sorrow in my dad's eyes. And the fact that I feel as if he himself was in a type of mental and spiritual captivity that he didn't really know how to break out of. Or maybe he was trapped. As she cooks all his meals. I immediately booked another flight to Ghana. You will see in this story, whenever I get overwhelmed, I will just catch a flight. I just cannot be bothered. I will leave. the entire continent. I arrived, things were great. I spent my birthday there. I felt loved by basically his friends. And I felt like it was heaven. Even though I was sponsoring 98% of the finances, I felt as that was the right thing to do as a devoted wife, to help her husband when he falls down on hard times. And of course, in the Quran it says that you get extra blessings for doing so, but that shouldn't be your intention, okay? So the minute I land, about 10 days in, this is October of 2024, and yes, I spent most of 2024 in Ghana, enjoying life, giving my husband a taste of luxury. Yes. We started having arguments instigated by him, and he didn't want me to come back. And I was so confused because we were living the life. Every other day we were going to expensive restaurants, expensive places, eating the seafood platters, wining and dining all across Accra. There were no issues. So I could understand now that I was back in Canada and I felt stressed again. And you know what I did when we are stressed? I catch flights, not feelings. I could understand why he didn't want me to come back. And I was going to do some digging because we leave no stone unturned in our own lives, not other people's lives. Okay? And God said, wait. It will be revealed. Don't go digging for it. At this time, I already booked my ticket, and I realized God did not give me the green light to go like he did for Ramadan, or like he did in 2023. But I thought, well, this is my husband, why shouldn't I go? Right? If something's going wrong, I should be there to support him. Right? I'm supposedly his rib. I even brought him a gift because I was made to feel like somehow his reactions were my fault, as he had led me to believe.